Hello and welcome to Dear God Why. The film we're going to be watching today is called Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Eat land, froggies!
The film stars 1990s man grappler Rowdy Roddy Piper as Sam Hell, a man who has to travel to the radioactive borough of Frogtown controlled by frog mutants and a particular man called King Cobra. No, it's not King Cobra, it's King Kai or Mr. Froggy, something like that. But it's frog related, there's a monarch in there somewhere, stuff will happen.
Alex has told me some things about this movie which I'm not sure whether... It's all just very strange.
Yeah, Alex described this to me a while ago, but because he does that, and I'm annoyed because you're not supposed to know anything about the film, but I've mostly forgotten it by now.
The last time I was in a Dear God Why that Alex suggested must have been either Zardos...
Oh, no. Zardos was all my fault.
...or The Room. And we all know how that went, so I'm terrified.
I'm quite a frog aficionado. I've seen quite a lot of frog-based films. Princess and the Frog, The Frog Princess, Steel Frog Nolias. I like frogs. This is going to be really bad though, because the last Dear God Why I saw, because I missed Zardos, because I wasn't invited, was The Room, and I've been promised that this won't be as bad, and if it is, that I'm allowed to bludgeon myself in the head until I forget that it ever happened.
Have you seen the film Frogs?
It seems to have formed a large part of Alex's personality, because he mentioned seeing this when he was about 10. So, if this film leads into Alex, I don't even know.
Also, we have cake.
This is my first Dear God Why, so I'm looking forward to that. And it's not horror, which is good, because I have to pretend to not be scared if it's horror. So now it's sci-fi, so that'll be fine. And I've seen Rowdy Roddy Ronald Regan Rip Roaring Pipe Man in a film called They Live. And yeah, that's pretty cool, especially if there's a fight scene again. So I'm looking forward to this. I reckon this will be a good film.
You are wrong! Dumb is the word of this film. Dumb, ribbit, dumb.
It's frog awful.
Yeah, it's not a great film.
Normally, whenever we're watching these films, you can tell when an actor has had enough.
Be right back.
But watching Hell Comes to Frogtown, I really do sincerely believe that every single person thought they were making a good film. And that scares me.
There's no real plot. Stuff just happens in order. Like, unconnected to everything else.
Got a name?
Hell. Sam Hell.
Never heard of you.
My favourite bit of the film is the character triangle between the three main characters.
There are characters in this film?
Sam Hell, who's a sort of paunchy, reluctant adventurer and sexual... not quite a predator, as he has to be bullied into sex crimes.
Come on, Hellman, it's late and I'm tired.
He's introduced as sort of this lady killer who goes around impregnating loads of women, and that's how they track him down, and that's why they, find him.
Mr. Hellman, I can understand why you're so popular with the ladies. You've left a string of pregnancies everywhere you've been.
He really does not want to have sex with anyone at all.
She's not my type, huh?
Your type?
Yeah.
You have preferences.
Well, yeah, if I kind of know her and there's a little chemistry there and, a little atmosphere would be nice.
You're, meant to be the main dude here who, enjoys doing this, and then you just really don't want to at any point in this film.
Well, maybe you ought to try making love to a complete stranger in the middle of a hostile mutant territory. See how you like it.
He has this weird electronic chastity belt / reader thing that no one understands, and it connects to this handbag with a torch in it. And it opens with a boing noise, and...
I gotta tell you, you are one weird dude.
The second character, Spangle, is a very, very odd lady. She's sort of one of those like quite generically pretty, thin, tan, blonde women who's been made up to look like a sort of like the frumpy 1970s comedy librarian with massive like Coke bottle glasses and whatnot.
And too many ribs.
There's like 2 stripping scenes of her in the first 20 minutes, and she's got thousands and thousands of ribs.
Literally all you can eat forever.
I think we should call her the Rib Witch.
Actual line from the film.
Relax. I've been trained in seduction techniques.
Amazing, right?
She's trying to be like aggressive or commanding or seductive, and it's just her face.
Did anybody ever tell you have a wonderful personality?
Move out.
I didn't think so.
My favourite character is Sentinella, who's a sort of Laura Croft as seen through the eyes of like a 12-year-old boy with sort of like who's losing the eyesight slowly through intensive masturbation. Sort of like an action hero, still like vaguely androgynous and a bit girly in the right way, but also could punch you in the face until nothing remained but jelly.
Her entire point in this movie is she sits on top of a truck or by the side of the truck, polishing a gun in a very Freudian way and smirking.
My death knob likes this.
She's done nothing. She's just sort of sat there, smirking. What is the point of her character?
She's smirking, so you can kind of... You know her emotions even if you don't know why she's reacting that way, but everyone else is just wooden face or slightly quizzical expression. There's so many reaction shots and none of them tell you what the people are feeling because they don't make any sense.
When I'm watching the film, I always think like who I'd recast, and if I was making it a modern age, how I'd redo it. And basically, I put Michelle Rodriguez in as the Cincinnati character, I can't remember her name. I'm not good with character names. The gun chick, Michelle Rodriguez, good with guns. And I'd definitely have Jessica Alba as the frog stripper woman, because that way when she's introduced, the camera's moving up, it's like, ooh, sexy strip like Sin City, ooh, yeah, sexy body, ooh, 1910s lingerie, ooh, and then frog face! Ah, no! And if you were turned on by it, you're a freak.
Rowdy Roddy Piper bears a striking resemblance to He-Man. So what it's basically looking like is He-Man, Power Rangers, crossover fan fiction, written by 14-year-old boys, and including the magic healing penis trope.
It's a pretty average film. It has bad costume, bad writing, bad direction, bad setting, bad music, random saxophone, which is fine. It goes to prove, however, something that I hold firmly in my heart as a registered Republican, which is if you rape a woman after hypnoling her butt, she will stand up, brush her hair and put some lipstick on, and then she will say thank you.
It's horrible. It makes me genuinely uncomfortable watching this, so fuck you, Alex, for suggesting this film.
I think I'd say there were 5 sex scenes in the film, and each one has very, very confusing gender politics. In the first one, like, lady comes out, she's got, like, literally army-issue camouflage lingerie on, and is like, oh, would you want to have some sex with me, maybe? Oh. And the guy's like, no, I don't want to. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, well, go on then, snog, snog, snog. And then she shocks his genitalia. Second scene, as that lady's gone away, different lady comes over, takes all of her and goes, I want to have some real sex with you, because I can. And then the first lady comes back in, shocks the genitals again.
You're out of uniform, Corporal.
Third scene, he is having sex with an unconscious lady who has been drugged to make her fertile.
It's kind of like, you're being raped, but it's for the good of America. And then she's cool with it.
Oh yeah, you clean me up, that's amazing. Oh, baby now. Oh, bye. And walks off into the desert on a 3-day hike back to civilization.
With no water.
No water, no
Just
food.
semen.
She's got a jumpsuit and a watch.
Go south for a few days. The Border Patrol will pick up your signal and evac you to a med-tech hospital. No, don't worry. Mothers are national heroes. You'll be treated like a queen.
Thank you.
Fourth scene, like, the main lady's in a bed and they're, like, fluttering fabric up and down on her to prepare her. Because that's how sort of sensuality works. You just sort of flutter things over people and they go, ooh, 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 as I understand it.
This is nice.
Fifth scene, if you can call it a sex scene, the dance of the three snakes.
She just goes and does this really awkward, lame dance where she spins around a lot in lingerie for the main frog dude. And you're like, why is this like a big deal?
What are these three snakes?
It turns out the frog dude has 3 dicks and those are the 3 snakes, and that is the big hilarious reveal.
Which I actually predicted as a joke, and then no, it straight up was the dance of the 3 penises, which is kind of sad.
You have aroused the 3 snakes!
There is genital contact in that scene. I don't know if we'd call it sex, but it's certainly sexual in a very strange way.
She kicks him in the groin 3 times, which was a nice touch, actually, I thought.
I just thought of some new steps.
And then there's the implied off-screen sex scene of just 6 women in a frog van with Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh. I guess what they say is true.
What's that?
A soldier's work is never done.
Gonna have to have a lot of sex when this film's over.
You've forgotten one. The other very confusing sex scene is the scene in which a frog lady makes very amorous advances towards Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh, what are you doing?
Just promise me you won't be gentle.
That I can promise.
Oh, Sam. I knew it would be great.
Rowdy Roddy Piper, rather than turning her down or explaining to her that he's just not into frogs, asks her to put a bag over her head and sit on the table while he creeps away.
Is this how you like it, Sam?
It's perfect. Just a little kink of mine.
I don't know what that says about sexual politics and the way genders treat each other, but it feels like it should say something, doesn't it?
You see, this used to be a man's world, Sam. But now there are too many women.
It seems like if it had just veered off in the opposite direction, this could have been like a vaguely kind of cool, almost feminist movie, and it sort of presents this sort of rebuilt society in which women have taken control, and they're trying to rebuild the population, just trying to make the world better, whereas all the male characters in the film were very, very destructive.
The war reduced our male population by 68%. It made most of the human race sterile. But we're still at war. A population war.
Women are saving the world, but the only way they're doing it is through making men sleep with other women who don't necessarily want to be slept with, but they apparently do because it's magical.
The film needs better boobs. If you're making a sexploitation movie, get Pamela Anderson or someone with better boobs, because the boobs themselves are not good.
And less ribs.
And less ribs, more boobs.
I get what Alex was saying. It's a 14-year-old's fantasy. It's like, wouldn't it be great if my job was to have to go and have sex with loads of women? Oh well, then I guess I better. But then they just went, well, we need mutants, because mutants are in right now.
Leaving all that aside, there was no point in them being frogs.
Shut your hole!
They don't do anything frog-like. There's just at one point the main bad guy frog jumps really high. That's the entire thing, and there's no point to. I know my complaints about most of these films are they're pointless, but
it's like the film was combined from porn from page 3 of The Sun and then frogs. So I imagine someone just found a load of page 3 issues of The Sun in a swamp somewhere with frogs on it, and then thought, I can combine these two things into a film.
Maybe they found some frog spawn.
Or they found some frog masks and thought, let's make a film using these frog masks because we might as well.
I love you.
Some of them are just like a flat mask with like a mouth going like this. And some of them are like a giant head with a flappy paddle mouth thing. It's not good.
It's 1970s. It's clearly quite a limited budget, and they've managed to construct at least a dozen different interesting Frogman costumes. That would function in desert heat. I mean, they look fucking juicy.
I don't mind that. It's not as good as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There could be better costumes, but there's a lot of them, so that's okay.
I don't know. Who did the costumes on this film? They should be fired. We should find the credits and then just buy them.
Out of a cannon.
Yeah, into the sun. Twice. Then bring them back and do it again. It's just bad. The whole thing is terrible and awful and worse than Zardoz.
Like, Zardoz had these big philosophical, sort of symbolic, emotional points he was trying to make the filmmaking. Like, you had a gallery full of frozen figures. There was a giant head symbolic and like a big gynocratic society inside of a giant breast. And these were all very, very symbolic things. We don't know what they were symbolic of.
There was symbolism.
Symbolism everywhere. But they made the effort, and that was nice.
Zardoz had ambition. It made me feel like physically ill to watch it, but they were trying to do stuff, and this is just like, let's throw some tits at the screen.
It should not be a real thing. It should be saved on some 14-year-old's computer and hidden away for the rest of time by their shameful, shameful future selves.
Hello!
Save me.
There is a lot about this film that is incredibly predictable, in that, you know, there are boobs, boobs come out, boobs go away again, boobs come back for more. There are explosions, there is a car chase. But what was not predictable is how it made me feel inside. And that is that I need to shut down Congress until a better movie is sent to me to replace this one in my memories. I'm very sorry about this, but there will just be no more Congress for you until an amphibian-based exploitation movie with better boobs and some lingerie that was not made by blind capuchin monkeys is sent to my house.
I'm happy with there being more boobs in the films that get watched.
I'll represent the arse lobby. There were no arses. That's all.
No.
Rubbish.
Why? Why? Okay, I'm done.
My turn.
I'm escaping.